What was important to me was that I found stability, that I found something that was infinitely interesting, that I could always be curious about, that I was working for a product that I loved, and that I could support my family. And those needs, right, those desires changed over the course of me graduating college and where I am right now, and they will continue to change. And so if I've learned anything so far from being out of school is that you can teach yourself anything. Just start doing it. Identify what you want and then go do it. And you'll find that your life changed in a direction towards what you want. So, I mean, I don't think there's any magic. I don't think there's any magic in this situation. It's about doing and about doing what is going to bring you joy. I started out in my professional career, I guess you could say, as an actor, actually. So I went to conservatory. I never considered myself anything other than an actor or an artist ever since I was 5 years old. I always shied away from numbers, data, math, science. It was never my strong suit, right? So I went to acting conservatory. I graduated. I had a great agent. I was trying to make my way in New York City. But in that journey, I was realizing that acting, the actual work that went into it every day to get jobs as a professional, meant that you're pretty lonely and pretty isolated, except for when you got into the audition room, which was, a few hours a week, really. And I was noticing that a lot of my friends from conservatory were maybe 10 years out of school, and they were still struggling, right? Still struggling to build careers in the arts. And I thought, well, it's making me pretty unhappy right now, not doing something that gives me joy every day. I'm just working on scripts. I'm not actually getting to act. So I really want to start building out how I can be happy right now. So truthfully, the way that I got into marketing and into product and working with technical products was kind of an accident. My boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, had just gotten an invitation to an exclusive social networking site called Small World. It was one of those first starter social networks. It's actually still alive today. And they were taking on product interns. I had no idea what a product intern meant. Absolutely none. Products to me are like this pen, and so I really didn't get it. But thankfully for me, they saw something in me and they brought me on, and I became a product intern at a Small World. From there, I really was holding that work at a distance in a way. I was still trying to act. I started a yoga clothing line that was produced out of New York City. I was really trying to find ways to make artistry become my career still in a way, with holding kind of the marketing and the product work at a distance. And then something really big happened for me. I got really sick. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I almost died. I got salmonella. I had a hip replacement. All of my hair fell out. It was a year of my life on the couch. And I had a lot of time to reflect. And I had a lot of time to ask for support. And what I realized is that I was holding this world at a distance, data, technology, marketing, something that was more supportive in its environment, right? You have colleagues, you have systems that you can lean into to learn from. And that I really actually wanted and needed and was craving that structure, and that I could put my artistry into it. I didn't have to have it be removed, this other thing that was away from the world of corporate America. I could actually have the two combined. So from there, I made a decision. I closed up shop at the yoga clothing endeavor. I decided to tell my agents that I was done, and I fully invested in a career in marketing and in communications and in technical products. So I spent some more time at a Small World. really investing this time, right? From there, I decided that I wanted to do something that felt a little bit more closer to my heart. So I decided to make a transition into a nonprofit in Brooklyn, New York, which is where I live. It's my community, where I was the sole marketer supporting 500 different internal employees and about 13,000 clients externally. So that was really like, if you want a master's in marketing, right? Get your hands dirty. And really, everything came from the heart. But what I realized is, which is unfortunate, and I think that new developments are happening every day. I've seen really cool companies come out in ways that support technology practices and nonprofits. But what I was finding is that I didn't have access to the tooling that I was really wanting in order to make data-driven decisions around my marketing efforts. So from there, I ended up taking a role with Flatiron School, which was a part of WeWork and is no longer a part of WeWork, but at the time they were an acquisition of WeWork. So they were growing like gangbusters, and they were a boot camp that really taught data science, software engineering, UX, UI design, cybersecurity. And so for the first time, I was not only able to get a hold of the kind of platforms that I was really interested in order to get data-driven results for my campaigns, but I was also just actively talking to engineers every day. I was marketing to people who wanted to career change into engineers. So I just found myself kind of swimming in a pool of data every day, right? From there, I had sort of a couple of blips during the pandemic, trying to find my new home. I spent a really nice period of time at MongoDB. So really, again, like diving back into even more so into the world of data. And there I was really able to meld my interest in still supporting education, tech education, and was leading product marketing for their freemium product, which it's essentially where you learn how to utilize MongoDB. So I was able to work with curriculum engineers, so really this education space that I was still interested in, while being able to flex my creativity, because it felt a little bit startup-y, right? I was really the sole marketer working on putting this product out. So I was doing everything from nurture campaigns, right, to actual, launching new courses and things like that. I then have found a home for over a year now at Action IQ. And I am really feeling very solidly at home here. And I've had an opportunity to take that artistry that I've talked about, right? All of the things that are about being an artist. And I've been able to meld them into a way to also work in tech. So I currently lead our brand at Action IQ, and we just spent the whole last year going through a rebrand, or prepping to go through a rebrand, and launched our rebrand in June, which I was able to lead. So I'm working with graphic designers all the time. I'm working with our product team. I'm working with our sales team. I'm working with our product marketing team. I'm working with our demand gen team. So it's really this lovely way to incorporate all of these skill sets that I've developed my entire life, right? And still really immersed in the world of data. I think that, at least for my piece of the communications puzzle, right? It really is starting top of funnel and going all the way down. So from the highest touch place, what I've been working on for the past year has been taking this very complicated, undefined market. First of all, the CDP market is still very much in flux, and a very complicated product to understand in all of its functionalities. And saying, how can we translate that into something that resonates with heads of technical teams, heads of marketing teams, heads of marketing operations teams, just by looking at our website. So instead of trying to just put things in a very black and white kind of chunky technical way, how do we bring them in? I think sometimes we get lost in B2B marketing, thinking that like it is about marketing to a business. No, it's not. It's about marketing to people. People make decisions for businesses. And so we have to create a way for people to see data in a very a data company in a very friendly way, in a way that draws them in. And so it's really even down to that granularity of just like, how do we literally incorporate data into our visual designs and still keep it very friendly, rounded, inviting? So you'll see some of our visuals that we've created on our homepage, for instance, you'll see actual code from our platform, like floating around on the screen. And all of that is done in a very meaningful way for us, but it's a more like subliminal. So data is literally influencing the design at a very high touch level, right? And then it comes all the way down to really trying to pull traffic to our website. So for instance, yesterday I was working with our social media team on figuring out how do we really understand what we're using social media for and looking at the metrics by channel. I think that we've been trying to use it as a lead generation tool, which organic social as a lead generation tool, when really it's more of a brand awareness play, or it can be. So we've been dissecting the data, going through how much of what we should be doing is really lead gen focused, how much of it is really brand awareness focused, and how we can be divvying that up per channel to get the most effective push, right? Are we really going to measure all of social media as hitting lead gen targets, or should we be thinking of it more as share of voice metrics, engagement metrics, things like that, and which one of those is supporting which function of the company? So I truly see the communications role within the marketing funnel being it's full funnel, and it has to break down by channel in the way that you think about it and how you use data through each of your channels and tools. So I think that the most interesting and the most impactful campaign that I've ever run has been this repositioning and rebranding. So we've just repositioned ourselves from a customer data platform to a customer experience hub, a more intelligent, robust tool than maybe the market is currently talking about. And we're already seeing ripple effects from this launch that we just did at this point, I think about 3 months ago. I think from the reason that it's my favorite is because to come back to our conversation topic, right, data, we've been pulling qualitative and quantitative data from the very beginning of the process. And we're seeing, those results now at the end of this year-long process. We really started with even just the granularity of interviewing our team. If we're repositioning our entire product and we're rebranding the entire company, we have to start with the source, the people who are building it and the people who think about it every single day, right? So interviewing our employees to say, what do you think we do? Who do you think we are? How do you talk about us to your mom, to your best friend, to somebody at an industry event, and what are the differences there? So really looking at that kind of data, the not so numbery data, right? How are people talking about us? What are the words, the verbs that people use to talk about us? So starting at that level, and really being able to have that kind of understanding shape the beginning of the process, then going to our customers, interviewing people who got to interact with different iterations of the brand as we were trying to build it. That kind of information was incredibly valuable to move us along and get to something that would be effective out in the market, not just from what we thought, right, but then what we know. And now being able to see the impact in the market, we're starting to see conversations happening across different channels that people are really interested and engaged with. Our head of product just wrote a really wonderful piece that went up on LinkedIn about a week ago that is behind this new voice and tone that we've developed, really making our mark in the industry as calling ourselves this new thing, a CX hub. And kind of calling a little bit of trying to debunk some of the things that we're hearing in the industries from some of the really, really big players around their promises about CDPs. And we're seeing this really shake up and make ripples in the market. So we're seeing that this new voice, this new positioning is really starting to pay off, not just from a metrics perspective. We are seeing really exciting deals come in, but also from a brand awareness perspective. I think that in terms of making an effective team in the MarTech space for communicating out the differentiator of your particular product, it takes a lot of different communication functions within the marketing team to make this effective. I think that there's an entire team on our marketing team that's dedicated to just communicating with our customers, to understanding their point of view, to gathering insights from our customers to not only impact product and product roadmap and things like that, but really those like kernels of truth that they have about their experience with our product. So whether that is an interview, a webinar, getting that customer feedback in communication ready form is really important. We then have a content team that then takes that out and is working closely with our product marketing team, closely with our PR team to really put out the right kind of content to be able to educate the market. So we're not only putting out press releases right about new product features, awards that we've won, what have you, but we're also creating a lot of educational content for the market because this is still so new, because it's so undefined, and because we've repositioned ourselves as something new within the space. We do have to educate everyone all over again about who we are, right? So the content team is then with the product marketing team churning out solutions, briefs, guides, anything that can prep our customers for instance, we have a lot of retail customers, so holiday readiness guides and things like that prepare them. For instance, third-party cookie deprecation is a huge topic for us, creating a lot of content to educate people on how you can use customer data platforms or the new CX Hub structure to support you as Google deprecates their third-party cookies. So that's a whole other function as well. Then we've actually, we're a startup, we're still building out our communication functions. But what we've realized by looking at data around what works with our customers and prospects is that we need more video content. We need to be producing more videos. Video is kind of the ultimate on a few of different platforms and on our website. So we've been developing out how we can do a lot of video creation and editing in-house while we're still so young, and when it makes sense to take that to an agency and establishing those relationships as well. So we do a lot of script writing. We're doing a lot of thinking about how we're utilizing some of the really easy to access platforms, right? Like YouTube. It's essentially a how-to platform at this point, how to use a customer data platform, how to, so really thinking through what's the kind of content, what's the kind of communication effort that we can be doing there to educate the market on who we are and how we differentiate ourselves. So I really see the work of communications for a MarTech company at this stage really being about shaping out what the differentiator is for your company, and then thinking about that intelligently per channel, about what is the right structure for communicating that differentiation across each channel, and how can you get it done on the cheap and in a scrappy way when you're at a startup. Metrics that I'm looking at on a daily basis right now are our social media metrics. We're paying a lot of attention to our social channels right now and how we really optimize our presence along them. So I'm looking at engagement rates specifically. Followers I'm not so concerned about right now, as we're still learning how to use different social channels as a B2B company, but engagements is what I'm really interested in, especially since we're trying to create some conversations that might shake up the space a little bit, right? I'm really interested in those. On a weekly basis, I'm looking at a lot. I'm looking at performance on our website, so visitors. Organic specifically is what I'm focused on. So organic visitors, our lead rate, so any kind of capture that we're doing to have people download content, essentially, our conversion rate, which is really people asking us for demo requests, and then really sifting through all of that. And sometimes it's very manual to figure out where are the actual leads. Like chatbots fill out request forms all the time. So really there is a part of manually having to sift through and really seeing if these are actionable leads and conversion metrics. Then I'm looking at our share of voice across social, across PR. I am looking at our blog numbers. Blog is a really important tool for us right now, as well as our SEO metrics. Again, because we are small, because we are still considered a startup, like the SEO strategy is really, really important for us to pay attention to. So those are my sort of weekly metrics. There's nothing that I really look at on a monthly base. I'm a little bit too ingrained in it all to only be looking at some things on a monthly basis. So then also more on a weekly basis, I'm looking at our SQLs, our SQOs, and our SAL numbers. I'm really concerned about our SAL numbers right now. So that's really when we end up booking a meeting that we think is a viable meeting. So that is what I'm really concerned about, because that is really helping us build out our pipeline. We have a pretty long sales pipeline. So I want to make sure that our pipeline is healthy enough so that in 6 months, what we're seeing now is really what we're going to maybe see at the end of the funnel. So that is probably my most concerning metric, although there are so many different teams and functions within the organization that play into that number. I'm always eager for a multi-touch attribution model, which I have not yet been at a company that has been able to have an effective multi-touch attribution model in place. However, Action IQ is working on it, and I'm really excited to see what those results will be once we get that in place. And then, something that I wish that we were able to get more of, and that was just, that was easier to get, is I really want the qualitative data. I want more customer feedback always, all the time. I would love to be able to tap into my customer base and ask them any question at the drop of a hat whenever I wanted to. But unfortunately, nobody's life is about giving me the numbers and the feedback that I want on a given day. So we do have to be, quite strategic about when we do ask our customers who have very busy lives, who lead really big teams. We have to be very strategic about what we ask them and when we ask them. But if I had it my way, I'd have them on our website testing out new things all the time and giving us feedback. So maybe one day we'll just be able to, I don't know, ping into somebody's brain and extract a thought. Hopefully not. That's actually a little bit scary, but yeah, that's what I wish we had more of. I do see more efforts to spend in the communications realm. I see it currently right now being dedicated toward in-person experiences. So that is a little bit maybe outside of what we've been talking about in this conversation. But I think that because we've all spent so much time being so afraid to interact on a person-to-person basis, I am seeing the conference circuit just explode. Conferences are selling out. Every conference that my team has been going to has been absolutely selling out. It was hard to get our CMO a ticket to one that she had been promised a ticket to. So, it's I see more spend going in that sort of space, in brand awareness and personal experiences, in providing excellent one-to-one personal experiences. So that can be done on a digital realm, right? That's what Action IQ does. But I think that sort of those in-person experiences are where we're going to be seeing a lot of spend, and certainly I think where we are dedicating some of our efforts. In terms of ROI on that, right? I think that you have to be really strategic about the way you approach those experiences. You have to be giving really exciting, differentiated in-person experiences in order to get the quantitative data to then utilize later. So we're experimenting with some really fun differentiating experiences in our in-person events coming up, things that really do help us lock in those meetings that we really need with people. That's one of our most important metric, is when we book a highly qualified meeting. So any kind of effort that you can make in those in-person moments to really drive your business's most important metric, I think is where you need to be spending your time thinking. One of my colleagues just thought of the most beautiful, easy tool that we're making happen and we're implementing that I'm happy to share. Everybody is carrying around one of these. If you're at a conference, you have one of these in your hand, and to have a simple background on your locked screen on your smartphone with a QR code that anybody can scan, that leads to your website, that leads to a form fill, that leads exactly where you want to go. Say, hi, my name's Katharine. I'm from Action IQ. Who are you? Hey, do you want to check out what we're doing? Scan my QR code. It's right here. So I think, obviously, the collection of data is key, because you're not going to be with those people one-on-one for more than 5 minutes. So to have that, to be able to follow up, that's, I think, where people need to be putting their focus. It's really hard to know when you are really young what you want your life to look like. And let's be real, like, your work is a lot of your life, especially if you're deciding to move into the marketing communications realm for tech companies, for companies that care about data. Trust yourself. That is really my advice, is trust yourself. If you've decided that there's something that's missing and you see a way to go after it, go after it. There's nothing wrong with adjusting, with changing. I graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting from one of the best conservatories in the world. I'm not doing that anymore, right? I've made a lot of shifts to get to where I am, and what I've done is followed what's important to me. What was important to me was that I found stability, that I found something that was infinitely interesting, that I could always be curious about, that I was working for a product that I loved, and that I could support my family. And those needs, right, those desires changed over the course of me graduating college and where I am right now, and they will continue to change. And so if I've learned anything so far from being out of school, is that you can teach yourself anything. Just start doing it. Identify what you want and then go do it. And you'll find that your life changed in a direction towards what you want. So, I mean, I don't think there's any magic. I don't think there's any magic in this situation. It's about doing, and about doing what is going to bring you joy.